Holistic Health Crusaders, Dr. Ren here, and today we're going to think about yoga for scoliosis. I'm here with internet sensation and longevity enthusiast, Grandma Anna Pesce. How you doing, Anna?
I'm doing fine.
So you're 87 years young and standing tall, but that wasn't always the case as we've watched through your journey.
I've been battling it for many years, more than 20 years.
I saw that you were like literally hunched over for decades.
Then I had everything.
Mm-hmm.
I went from shots in the back, physical therapy,
Acupuncture.
acupuncture, chiropractic.
Mm-hmm.
This was my life. What it did was last so long, then you sort of adjust, well, that's how much it's going to do for you, and you learn to live with it. And so you go to the next step. The same thing, but the worst episode I had was 2 years ago. I had acupuncture. I was still having trouble walking. And I couldn't walk. It was very hard. And so after that, the doctor says, try physical therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And the last day of what they allowed me, she said to me, turn. I said, I can't. And this is 6 weeks physical therapy. She says, bend. I said, I can't. And so the following week, we were going to go south to see my son and daughter and my grandchildren. And I said to him, this is not a good idea. I don't think I can make the trip. Well, my daughter had to get wheelchairs. By the time we left on the Monday, Tuesday was, and they had a wheelchair for me, carried me on the plane, carried me off the plane. My son picked me up, carried me in the car. They had wheelchairs ready. And when I got to my grandson, he came out and scooped me up and I couldn't go up the steps. And I was so deathly sick. I said to him, I shouldn't have come. And that's how I spent most of my 2 weeks.
Wow.
I couldn't even enjoy my great-grandchildren.
Now, let me ask you, what was the cause of your scoliosis?
I don't really know, because maybe it was the work I did as a youngster. My mother was a crochet beader. I learned that. And I used to help my older sister with that during the war.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it for many years later on myself. So you're bent over like this, over a frame. Mm-hmm. Then I went into the business world, and I was in the office, and you're over the books. I was a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
And it was over the books, and I sew, and you're bent over. And that's the only thing I could really pin it down to. I didn't have an injury or anything. And I went to doctors, and they just told me, well, you need this, you need that. I went, after two shots on my spine, he wanted to do surgery. I said, no, I'm not going there. I refused to do it. And I was happy I didn't. I learned to deal with what I had.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you can do.
Yeah.
And you have to make agreements with yourself. I'm an active person, and I like to do things, and I want to do a lot of things with my hands. You name it, I can do it. But as I get older, of course, that's what frustrates me, is I can't do it like I used to do it.
Right. So I know that you've tried a variety of holistic modalities, but it wasn't until you found yoga that really helped you to reverse the condition. I do know that a philosophy that yoga teaches is mindfulness. So do you think that if you were more mindful as a younger person about your posture, it might have helped a little bit?
It could have.
Yeah.
It could have. You learn to do these things, and then, you go with it. Well, I told my other grade in the class, I said, I went to a new doctor, and they needed someone that was certified or with a license. Don't worry about it, Grandma. She teaches yoga, but she's not licensed. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, I know she specializes in back and posture.
Yes,
so.
Rachel does. So she says, I'll call you back. 2 hours later, she called me back. She said, Grandma, Rachel will be there on Thursday. I'm sending you the equipment. And that was it.
That's awesome.
That was it. And that's the start of it. She came, she got me walking. My daughter would take me shopping. I could walk some, and then we'd have to get a wheelchair. I couldn't walk. It just got so bad that I couldn't walk. It affected my legs, too.
Mm.
The position, whatever it was, something was out of place, but she straightened me out.
But I love the most about your story is that it illustrates that no matter what, no matter any age in life, that there's still a possibility to set our intention and achieve goals, even if that's...
And like you said,
Yeah.
it's the mind.
It's mind
If you
over
don't-
madness.
If you don't talk to yourself and adjust to that, it may not work. You know,
Yeah.
some people will do it and they'll say, oh, forget about it, you know. But I have my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She records what Rachel teaches me, and she helps me during the week. And you have to do it. She's a worse teacher than Rachel.
Mm. Well, I see Rachel right here, and I'm really excited to have Rachel coming into the studio shortly and talk to her about some techniques that we are going to share at the Union Senior Center today. And Rachel told me you're a really fast learner.
Yes, I do it, and I mean, maybe not perfect, but
So it keeps us going, right? Striving to do better or be perfect.
You gotta do it.
So
The results are better. I mean, it doesn't mean that every day is perfect.
No.
You do get off days, but she has things that offsets that off day.
But what I want to know is if you were a fast learner or were able to learn these poses, do you think it would be easy or come, over some sort of, or come over time to other seniors?
Why not?
Why not?
They throw the article in the paper. We got phone calls. They all want to know how they could get in touch with Rachel too.
Yeah.
And so they go to the yoga classes in high school that they have the adult programs, but it's just the simple. It's like my other granddaughter is teaching. Easy things, to adjust your body, keep the body in alignment, and get you going. But it doesn't last now. My hairdresser said to me, she says, I went to a number of places, she says, and that's it. But you got to do it all the time.
Yeah. But I heard you can even do a modified headstand.
Yeah, I do. So whatever Rachel tells me to do, I do. That's as long as I don't fall. Don't worry, you won't fall. I don't want to fall.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what do you think about your results?
I think they're great.
Yeah.
That's my daughter.
All right.
She fights with me. You shouldn't be doing that. Well, what am I going to do, I can do it, I'll do it, right? So if I complain about it later, we'll adjust it later.
Well, I can't wait to Rachel. We're going to bring her in a moment and talk about how she got into this modality and, again, the power of social media, because a girlfriend of mine from Texas posted your picture or reposted from your granddaughter, who's a yoga teacher, on Facebook, and I was so moved. I thought it was so profound, your transformation, that I clicked on it and saw that you guys were local. Rachel and your granddaughter are from New Jersey, and you're not too far away.
It's great. It's great.
And I'm really grateful you came down to the studio today.
Yeah, that was a trip. The car ride doesn't help you too much.
Right.
But the new doctor that I have gone to a couple of years, since just before Rachel, and she said at Columbia Presbyterian, they've been striving to get something together. She's interested in Rachel.
Awesome.
To help, because there are other outlets that you try them all, and I tried them all.
So I would love for you to talk to other people out there, not only seniors but everyone, and tell them about this modality. Give them some advice.
I'll do the best I can.
Yeah.
I never turn it down. If anyone asks me, I tell them it's great, and they're all interested. It's an expensive deal, but you reach a point. Hey, I'm 87.
Right. It's quality of life. Yeah.
Yeah, we had to stop going on vacation because I couldn't take the long runs.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it made it hard. Even traveling by plane.
It's the investment
So
in yourself is the best investment, but you also had to do the work.
Of course, you have to stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
And even if you got the pain, remember, the pain isn't going to leave you forever. It's going to come back, and you're going to get it. You're going to have both days, and then you do the right thing, and you, see, all right, it was short-lived.
Yeah.
But I've been through periods that I couldn't do anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as a holistic lifestyle advocate, it's all about maintaining balance. You know, some days, like you said, it's going to be
And
over
you
here,
gotta
over
keep
there,
it-
but how can we get closer to our center? So
And you can't sit and do vegetate.
that's right.
That's against my law.
You guys heard that from Grandma Anna. It's against her law to vegetate. So we're going to bring Rachel in, and thank you
Okay.
again.
You're welcome.
Hey, Holistic Health Crusaders, Dr. Ren here, sitting in an easy pose with Rachel Jesien. How you doing, Rachel?
Good. Thanks for having me, Dr. Ren.
Yeah, I have a celebrity yoga teacher in the house on the set, so I am so grateful for you being here today with us.
So happy to be here.
And you're a fellow Jersey girl.
Yes, now officially. I grew up in upstate New York, but I am officially a Jersey City resident now.
But yeah, again, the power of social media, because when I reached out and told you, I saw the before and after pictures of Grandma Anna posted by a girlfriend of mine on Facebook from Texas. And I was so moved by it and said, this is fantastic to share, especially with the Union Senior Center, because I like to do work with them here. And I clicked on it and saw you were from New Jersey, and I'm like, and we even have the same chickenpox scar. I just noticed a third eye mark.
That's right.
So, you know, I want to
so
know
funny.
a little bit about your journey, because I believe that everything happens for a reason. And from what I've gotten to learn about you and have read about in the New York Post and the different print media is you actually suffer from scoliosis.
Yes.
So give me the background on this.
Yeah, so I mean, I think part of the reason that I'm so passionate about sharing this work now is because as a child, I had very severe scoliosis. I have a 45-degree curve in my thoracic spine, and then high thoracic and low lumbar were like 25-degree curves. So I had a nice snaky spine when I first started this. I was braced as a child for 5 years, so I wore a back brace for 22 hours a day.
Yeah.
From ages 10 to 15. And, you know, by the end of the bracing period, I'd say surgery was a thought, but I mean, it never felt like something that I was going to pursue. So we kind of just kept our fingers crossed, and there wasn't anything specifically that people could tell me would help correct scoliosis.
Yeah.
So I just kind of took it for what it was and started dancing professionally in New York. And, you know, I think very early on what started to happen was just I kind of maxed out on that exercise program, right? I was dancing like 8 to 10 hours a day, taking classes, doing rehearsals, things like that. And the pain started to get just excruciating. So, yeah, I got to a turning point in my life where I, you know, really had to start looking for different ways that I could keep myself comfortable, but nothing was helping for the long term. So I would go and get chiropractic adjustments. I would go and do acupuncture. I would go to PTs, and it was all just about, you know, pain management, but it was never any long-term change. And then when I found my teachers in the city, Deborah Walk and Allison West, they had a program that was specialized for people who have back care issues, so herniated discs, scoliosis, stenosis, spondylolisthesis, all sorts of different back care issues. But the modality that they were getting addressed was through yoga. And so as I started to take class with them, I realized very quickly, almost after the first class I took, that something had shifted, because it wasn't about, you know, my doctors telling me anymore that I have scoliosis, right? I very distinctively started to feel within my own body where the asymmetry was.
Yeah.
And I mean, I always joke because I feel like the universe just slapped me in the face and was like, this is what you're going to do with your life.
Pretty much.
Because it was this little pocket, you know, this studio in New York was so wonderful and this community was getting served. And I remember feeling so relieved that I had found this work, but then immediately I was like, why didn't I know about this when I was 10 years old?
Right.
Right? And that's where this trajectory kind of led me. So I was thinking ways that I could make this super accessible for people outside of the New York area. And, you know, moving out to New Jersey, I started to work with people locally that way. And then, you know, one thing led to another, and I started teaching workshops in different states. And, but still it didn't feel like there was a big enough platform, right? Because it's not just people in our area that need to know about this. People need to know about this to the ends of the earth.
Absolutely.
That this is an option.
Yeah.
Because very quickly after I started doing this work, my curve decreased rapidly. And when I started to have a daily practice, right? So I took what my teachers were giving me in class, and I started to go home and I started to practice. So I could start to understand every single suggestion, correction that they were giving me, and saying, okay, so when she tells me to do this, what does that actually feel like in my body? Which is, you know, when I was working with Anna, that was a big part of her process too, is just learning to viscerally sense in her own body when she's going into pattern and when she's being mindful of how she's working. And that's
Right.
really when the magic happens, is when you can feel within your own body the corrections that need to be made.
Now, I want to ask you, though, how quickly do these visual results happen? Because, you know, a lot of times people go for the quick fix or the surgery or the whatever. But, and, you know, yoga is something that is a lifestyle approach. It's something that every day that we need to do in practice, you actually literally need to do the work. So I know initially maybe getting into a new, say, I call it live it, I don't call it a diet because we're not we don't want to die. So like a new live it regimen where you're implementing new foods, but say your goal is to lose weight, is you're not like, okay, a size 4 overnight.
Right.
So is that the same thing where this is a gradual thing, or do you begin to see immediate visual results?
Yeah, I think that's a really, really great question. So one of the things that I talk about with my students before I start working with them privately is I really explain to them that this is an experiential thing. Right? So when I'm...
All life is experiential and experimental.
Right, so we can sit and we can talk about everything for hours
Yeah.
on end, but if you're not doing the work, nothing will change.
And like Grandma Anna said, you gotta, it's your mind first, you know, your thoughts, your intention, mind over madness.
Exactly,
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And so, you know, when I'm sequencing for people, one of the things that I try to do is I will sequence for them something daily that they can do that would take probably at max like 20 or 25 minutes.
That's not bad at all.
But I go a step further.
Okay.
Because, you know, I've worked with enough people now to realize I also teach a home practice series that is almost like a support group for people trying to practice every day, accountability buddies, things like that.
That's excellent.
And over time, as I started to teach this series over and over and over again and work with people privately, everyone was coming up against the same issues, right? And it was all stemming from the excuses in the mind. So what I also do for people is that instead of that 20 to 25 minute sequence, I also give them a 5-minute sequence.
Okay.
So whether that is sitting and mindfully breathing, lying down, letting your spine decompress, whatever that is, but the most important part is because this work, it really is a horse of a different color. We're not just working with the musculoskeletal system. We're really working with the nervous system and the pathways from the brain to the spine to the limbs. So it's so much more subtle. And if you only are working on something on Tuesday for an hour and then you skip 3 days and then Friday for an hour, it doesn't work that way because
you don't build the pathways. Yeah, and that resets you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So every single morning, whether that is that 5-minute sequence, and I have my students lie out their props the night before. So that they literally
just
have
like
to,
we pick our outfits to go to the Jersey Shore the night before.
That's right. So when you get out of bed, you know, I want you to be hearing, if it's not my voice in your head, you go, oh my gosh, my mat is out already.
Right. I have no excuse.
No excuse.
I need to put the effort into it.
So
Got to do it.
planting those little seeds, because that's really what I'm interested in doing. As much as I would love to be able to follow all my students around and say, okay, shoulders back, blah, 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 you know,
well, we can make a little meme of you.
Right.
That's next. That's the app. We're getting there.
But you know, I'm really interested in people becoming their own teachers, their own healers, because that's when the magic happens. You know,
wow,
it really is. And I think that comes with a daily practice. So I want it to feel like you don't have to go to a yoga studio to do yoga. Your home can become your own little sanctuary.
Yeah.
And you can use that as time to check in with yourself every day. You're holding space for yourself, saying, okay, do I feel really strong and energized today? So my practice is going to reflect that. Or, okay, I'm feeling tired today, maybe I'm having a little bit of chronic pain or whatever, you have a different sequence to do that. So you've got this whole array of tools to choose from.
Which ultimately becomes second nature, because I've been practicing various modalities of yoga for the last 17 years, and the first thing I do when I get out of bed is, not even out of bed yet, is I'm in cat-cow position, I'm in downward dog, you know, absolutely.
And that's the best way to do it. And I think that, you know, after doing all this research on what helps people stay on the practice wagon or fall off the practice wagon, is I used to give people a choice of when to practice throughout the day. And as soon as I stopped doing that, as soon as I made it mandatory that people woke up, go to the bathroom, then right to their practice mat, 90% of people still to this day have a daily practice.
Yeah.
Because they're following that protocol. So it's true. We have to accept the nature of the mind, know that it's going to try to pull us off that daily practice wagon, and then say, okay, mind, I hear you. I understand that I've got a lot of stuff I've got to do today. Or I'm too
okay, mind, hi, mind, I hear you, mind.
There you are. I'm too hungry to practice. I need breakfast. I need to do this. I need to do this. And that's what your practice does. It helps you to quiet the mind enough so that you can remember why we're practicing. Because I need to get on the other side of my chronic pain. Because I want to be stronger. Because I want to be able to get back to doing all the things that I love to do. Taking care of my grandkids. Taking care of my pets and animals. Being able to go for a walk, right? I work with a lot of students who are, you know, have been sedentary enough that they can barely walk.
Yeah.
So if your goal is deep enough and you can really check in with that and say, what is the reason that I'm cultivating this practice, and hold on to that with both hands, because that's your anchor. Right? That has to be more important than all those little mind fluctuations.
Now, I want to know, when you refer to your students, I know you mean children of all ages.
Yes.
And you touched upon a couple golden ages, like we mentioned around age 10, the preteen years. I remember being in Burnett Middle School in my hometown in gym class when they first had us bend over to do spinal analysis. And that's when they said I had slight scoliosis. And I've been seeing a chiropractor and more holistic ones since I was 14. But whom would you say would be the ideal client for this specialized yoga?
Well, I mean, my youngest student is 8, and my oldest student is 87 now. Yes?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think people of all ages can benefit from this based on, you know, especially if you're working with structural spinal issues, because this program has really been developed around that ideal client. You know, it's not the same as doing a generalized yoga practice or doing, you know, just going to the gym and working like you had a symmetrical body, or say you're working out like you don't have herniated discs. The fact of the matter is that you do have structural spinal issues. So knowing how to modify any kind of practice, so whether that's a kid coming home after school every day and they're going to get their traction or do their poses. You know, one of my students actually her mom sent me a text this morning. I'll show you later. But she's 8 years old, right? And she has been able to, within a couple of months, her curve is decreased by 8 degrees already.
Wow.
And 8 years old, right? That's young, and you can imagine, oh my gosh, how would a kid be able to practice this stuff every single day? But you have to, and like I'm so passionate about teaching people of all ages that I want it to feel accessible no matter who comes into my studio.
Awesome.
You know, so we make it fun for the kids. We make it accessible for the seniors. We make it, you know, like I said, it helps you become your own. You're being a mirror for yourself. Well, I can actually feel myself when I'm letting my head go way forward like this. So those are I think everybody can benefit, yeah.
Well, why don't you give us 3 tips?
3 tips for cultivating a daily practice?
And posture and yoga, or whatever comes to mind.
Yoga. I think, well, it would depend on your back care issue.
Okay.
Yes. So I think one of the best things to get started with is, number 1, find a teacher who specializes in what you need.
Yes.
Because if you're working with structural spinal issues, just going to a generalized yoga class could be potentially dangerous. Okay. So, and we do exist, right? So what I'm in the midst of doing right now is creating an online support system for people who are outside our general area. But if you are in New Jersey or New York, there are some great studios in New York that specialize in this work. There are also teachers in this general area that have become certified at Yoga Union at the studio that I teach at. And they've gone through a rigorous training program to do this. We have to do case studies and things like that. So finding a teacher that you feel safe with and that is certified is number one most important thing. The second thing I would, mostly suggest for people is try to stay out of the huge group classes, right? If you're really looking to make a change, as we talked about, it really does come with daily practice. So finding a teacher who will give you a specialized program that you can work on every day is when you're going to see the best results. And then the third thing I would say, aside from the daily practice, is to become super, super mindful of ways that you can check in with yourself throughout the day, so that it's not just localized to that daily practice. So, okay, I'm going to forget about my posture the other 23 hours of the day and only think about it 1 hour of the day.
Yeah.
So whether that's having a buddy like Anna had, her darling daughter was always kind of being like, Mom, it's good. But
Yeah.
I'm telling you, people who have another set of eyes on them, really, really helpful.
Right. She even did that when she was on the chair before. She
Cheerleader.
came up and, yeah.
and told her to sit up straight. Yeah, so having somebody else's eyes on you, and then also whether that's, setting a little reminder on your phone, or, I have people who have reminders as they're walking out the door, they're just using their commute time as mindfulness practice, right? So every time I'm commuting or driving, I'm just going to make sure that I'm really super, super present with what I'm doing, so that you're integrating not only the physical practice, but also learning and teaching your mind how to focus, because all of that's just going to support the holistic system.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're creating drrenrecommends.com/scoliosis. That's going to have all the information about everything we've talked about today. And if they say they're Dr. Ren recommended, tell them what they'll get.
Oh, so we're going to put together a little gift for everybody. So stay tuned on that. On the website, it will include a code that we're going to put together for you guys, so that when you go to my website, and you'll fill out a little form and make sure that you add the code itself to the subject line, so I know that it's you coming in, and then you'll get your special surprise.
So if you go to drrenrecommends.com/scoliosis, you'll find out what that magic code is. And I can't wait to get downtown to the Union Senior Center.
Yay!
The mayor's coming out to meet us,
Oh my
and you're
gosh.
going to lead a modified chair yoga session.
Are we going to get him to do yoga with us?
He's going to do yoga with us. I know.
Yoga for everybody.
Let's go. Hey, Holistic Health Crusaders, Dr. Ren here at the Union Senior Center with Rachel Jesien, our yoga instructor specializing in back and posture. Scoliosis is what we're focusing on today. We even got the mayor to come out here, who's had some great experiences when it has come to chair yoga, and our seniors who are going to participate in a modified chair yoga to help improve posture. So thanks everyone for being here with us today, and take it away, Rachel. I'm ready.
Alrighty. So what we're going to start with first is just what's called neutral spine. So neutral spine is basically the place that our back is the happiest, okay? The spine itself needs to have a beautiful wave down the side of it. So you'll probably see some of this as you go throughout your life, right? We've seen this, what's called hyperkyphosis. So this is not the goal. The goal is also not to be doing too much of arching in the back. We want to really find 4 natural curves down the spine. So if you look at me from the side, right, the back of the pelvis should be grounding down into your chair seat. So everybody come forward on your chair so that you can really get your feet planted into the floor. That's it. Judy. And Judy, will you mind just let me use a belt to demonstrate so I can show everybody what we're going to do? Thank you. Thank you, Maya, for the belt. So what I'd like everybody to do is to make sure that we're getting that first curve that we're looking for by making sure that your feet are nice and parallel. So when we look at the foot, second toe in line with the center of the heel, so don't let your toes turn in or turn out. You're going to take your first foam block. So everybody has a colorful block and a cork block, and that's going to go between your knees. This is, yeah.
So what's the difference in the blocks? So 'cause I realized that the cork one's heavier.
They're heavier, yeah. So the heavier blocks, you can use them for a lot of different things. They're a little bit more clear when it comes to, if you're using them to line up the bones of the wrist or the hand. And the foam ones are lighter, obviously, so they're good for traveling if you can't bring your heavy cork blocks with you. So depending on what you're using them for, we all need them for different things. So between your knees, everybody, feet planted firmly on the floor, and you're going to take that trusty belt that I gave you, undo your buckle, and the belt is going to go around your thighs. So this belt is basically going to create a stabilized position for your legs so that your low back can begin to relax a little bit more. Every time the legs externally rotate, right, we've seen this happen a lot, like this, right? This puts pressure on the lower back and in the pelvis, around your thighs.
Okay, got it.
You got it, just like that. So you want it to be fairly snug, right? You want to make it tight so that it's actually holding your legs in as you do it.
You want to make it tight?
Yep, you want to make it tight.
Here, let go with this hand.
There you go.
We're buckling you in for yoga.
Good. Good. So feet planted firmly on the floor. Judy's going to come around and help everybody get in their belts.
Oh, it's
Twisted, yeah.
Good. Now
ahead,
there are
Judy,
two
do
ways to do this, because if you don't have all of your yoga props at home, right, you could still find this correct leg position for your hips and your knees. You could still be working your feet into the floor, but this block placement helps create a memory in the body. You can feel your inner thighs working, right, as you hold the block between your knees. So this is going to start to activate what's going on in the lower body. Now, with your second block, we're going to bring the second block up to the top of the chest. So take your cork block. Yeah, this is part of the yoga, is getting down to your blocks. Good.
It's stretching.
Yeah. Good. So let's see everybody's nice parallel feet. Very good. So this is for the lumbar spine and the pelvis. Very, very good for finding length through the vertebral column here. Now, second block is going to go all the way at the top of the chest. So you want to line it up right on your sternum, okay? I'm going to move my mic out of the way so I'm not smushing. Good. Good. Now, fingertips around the block. Let your shoulders relax. So let your elbows go. Feel your pelvis dropping into the chair. Do you feel all that support underneath your pelvis when you do that? Now, with your knees squeezing your first block, I want you to give yourself a little bit of pressure on the second block and lift your chest up into the block. So use the block to create that memory of, can I lift my chest up without doing this with my shoulders? Can you feel the difference? So everybody scrunch your shoulders up next to your ears. That's not what we want, right? So now drop the shoulders, relax the neck, relax the face, relax the jaw, and see if you can get the lift to come from inside the chest. So you're lifting your heart up, 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 up. Take a big breath in and grow another inch. Good. This is block 2. Block 3, we're going to bring the block up to the crown of the head. Good. Good. And wrap your fingers right around the top of the block. Now, we just worked on relaxing the shoulders, so can you relax them here too? Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Good. Now, just a little bit of pressure. You don't want to pull the block down on the head, but I do want you to give yourself a little bit of resistance. Now, while you're pulling the fingers into the block, can you lengthen the crown of the head up into the block? So reach the crown of the head all the way up and get taller, 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 taller. So now we're creating space in the spine all the way from the sits bones through the lumbar spine, through the thoracic spine. Lift that chest up. What did it feel like to be lifting your chest into the block? Can you still remember? And how about the crown of the head? You feel the postural muscles working, right? It feels like work when you do this. But this isn't just the superficial muscles like your abdomen, right? These are the ones that wrap right next to your spine. So keep growing. The longer you can get, the stronger your spine will be. Shoulders relax. Now, release the block. Release your second block. Release your belt. So take all of your props off. And we're going to see if your body has created a new memory. Okay? So now, with your feet parallel, so see if you can line up your pose even now without your block. So you can just let your belts drop. So now, what did it feel like to have that block between your knees? Does your body remember? Can you still sense it? Yeah, good. Did you feel that little lift in your lower spine when you did that? Yeah. So now, what did it feel like to be lifting that chest into the block? Does your body remember? You're all growing, so I'm assuming that you did remember. Okay, now, this is the tough one. How about the crown of the head? What did that feel like to be lifting your block up to the crown of the head? Good. Now you can also do this by assisting yourself with your hands on your legs here, or if you can reach the side of your chair seat, you can also press here. But as I ground down through my feet, so press those feet into the floor, activate your legs, and then press up through the crown of the head. Let's see you get taller. Yes. Very nice. Breathe all the way up into the top of the chest. Good. Now, icing on the cake, keep all that lift in your spine, and you're going to lift the arms all the way up. So now my fingertips are reaching all the way up to the ceiling. Like you're going to touch the, yep, turn your palms in, everybody. Palms wrap in, yep. So they face each other. Good. Now feel the whole side of the waist lifting. Your right hand's going to come down to the side of the chair seat, and your left arm is going to go up and over your head. So keep working down through your feet. What did it feel like to have that block between your knees? Can you still feel it? Take a big breath in. Breathe into the left side of the body. One more. And then exhale slowly. Come back up. Lift that right arm up. Get taller, get taller, get taller. Yeah, remember those blocks. And then exhale, left hand comes down. Right arm stretches all the way up and over. So try not to just crunch. See if you can get longer as you go to the side. Good. One more big breath in. Ground down through that right side of the pelvis too. Don't let yourself lean. Yeah, that's it. And then all the way back up. And then relax. Woo. So this kind of work is so good for our spine, right? Because you can't really overdo it, right? We're not doing anything that's going to tax the back. We're doing things that are going to make those really, really deep muscles around the spine get stronger and stronger, so that when we come out of our yoga practice, we're a little bit more upright. Yeah? Good. Okay, so now, second thing we can do that I think is really, really helpful, and this is something that Anna loved to do when she first started doing her yoga practice, are foot massages. Ooh. So from here, we're not going to take our shoes off today, but if you can cross your left ankle on top of your right knee, if you need to stretch the lower leg out a little bit because this feels too high, you can do that, or you can put your foot up on a block. Same thing. So this is a great way to get started just mobilizing the muscles of the leg. So you can start by doing little ankle rolls here. Now, did you notice what happened to the rest of your spine as we brought the leg up? What wanted to happen? That collapsing. Do you feel that? Yeah. So now, as you're holding onto your shin or onto your leg, what did it feel like to be lifting those blocks up? Ooh. That's going to probably give you a little bit of a bigger stretch in your outer hip. Now you can bring your hand to the root of that thigh. So don't press right on the knee because we never want to push on the joint itself. Slide that hand down and see if you can lengthen your spine up as you press that side of the pelvis down. And if you're able to keep those shoulders down as you do it too. Yep, good. So as you get longer and longer this way, you can deepen the stretch by coming forward a little bit this way, but only if it means that you're not going to collapse, right? So we're lengthening through the crown of the head as you do this. Take one more big breath in, get taller, get longer, reach the crown of the head into the ceiling, and then we switch sides. Notice the difference between the two sides. So most of us throughout our day are probably always standing on one leg more than the other. So probably one of your outer hips is going to be a little bit crankier than the other. So this is a good way to bring balance to the musculature in the outer hips and bring even weight into both of your feet. So now let's start with those little gentle circles with your opposite leg. Good. It's so good to keep everything lubricated. Because as we age, right, you know what happens to the bones of the feet? How many of you have arthritis or osteoporosis? Anybody in the room? A couple of us. So what happens as we age, if we don't keep the circulation flowing through all those little joints in our feet, we have 26 bones in our feet. That's a lot of bones, right? So as we age, if we don't keep those mobile, then the bones start to calcify, and all of that little movement that we had in our feet when we were younger starts to stop. So we've seen some of this start to happen, right? And if I'm walking all day without a good grounding through my feet, I'm going to be looking down as I walk, right? And this is where the process happens. My feet, I can't really feel my feet working into the floor, so I have to look at where I'm walking, and over time, what happens? We're going back to all fours, right? We're going to end up back working on all 4 feet sooner or later. So the more we can keep the feet open, so whether that's by doing these little ankle rolls, or you can work with tennis balls on your feet, right? Just opening up, rolling your foot around. That's going to give you a better connection for the floor. So as you're walking around, you're going to feel safer to stand tall. Do we see? It's all connected. We have to feel safe as we're walking, but we won't feel safe if our feet aren't open. So lots of this, and then also open hips, right? So sitting up nice and tall, finding those 3 blocks that we worked through our knees, through our chest, through the crown of the head, shoulders relax, big breath in, get taller, and then if you haven't done so already on this side, pushing that outer hip down, nice big stretch in the outer hip. Good. And then relax. Good. Now, next, we're going to come to stand up, but I want you to go behind your chair. So you're going to use your chair for some stability. And you're going to take that block. So let's all use our foam blocks for this one. And we're going to put the block between our upper thighs. I would use the foam ones. They're a little bit lighter. Good. So make sure everybody has your hand on the chair as you're doing this. This is going to give you a really good push-off point. Now, parallel feet. Can we do the same things that we just found when we were sitting now as we're standing? So nice parallel feet. So that means don't let your toes turn out like this. So second toe in line with the center of your heel. Everybody holding onto your chair, bend your knees a little bit. And I want you to lift your toes up. What does that do to your weight? Do you feel it makes you move back a little bit? If you didn't notice, you can put your toes down and try it again. Right? So this is how we normally stand all day, head coming forward. That 10-pound head, as it moves forward, has now become a 20-pound head because of gravity, and a 30-pound head, and a 40-pound head, yeah? So with your toes lifting up, I want you to see if you can lift that block up between your inner thighs, and I want you to remember what it felt like to be lifting that block here. And I want you to see what it felt like to be lifting the block at the crown of the head. So the more you press down with your feet, the taller you can get. Good. Relax your shoulders down. Good. That's exactly right. Now, from here, push on that chair. Give yourself a little extra oomph. Now, can you do all of this and breathe? So take a big breath in. Get nice and expansive at the top of the chest. And as you exhale, grow another inch. Push down. The floor is here to support us, right? This is our infinite support system underneath us. Good. Now, here's the real trick. Take the block out. You can put it right on your chair for a moment. Ooh. Now let's see if the block created that memory. Now that we're standing, what did that block feel like between your thighs? Can you feel it? Yeah. Aha. Now, take it for a walk. So everybody's going to walk. You can just walk wherever you want. Go as slow as you need to. And as you're walking around the room, I want you to see if you can remember what that block felt like. So keep lengthening through the crown of your head as you walk. Nice and slow. Good. All right, now forget about the block and notice what happens to your posture. Feels better probably, right? I don't have to do any work. Yeah. But look at where your head goes. Did everybody notice that your eyes went down when you dropped the block?
Yeah.
And then now what happens if you lift the block up? Can you still find it? Everybody's growing.
You got
That's
us.
exactly right. That's right. That's right. Good. So now, making it a little more yoga-esque, we can try a standing pose. So let me show you what you're going to do. Hands are still going to stay on the chair like this. My right leg's going to come forward, and my back leg is going to come back like this. I'm going to bend that front knee a little bit. Okay? So now, getting into the back of the heel, right? We can feel the stretch in the back of the calf as I do this. What do you think I'm going to tell you to remember? Your blocks. Aha, somebody just grew. There she goes. So I can push down on my chair and lift my chest up. So you can do all of these poses with the support of the chair, right? But all of the same principles of lifting the spine are going to be the same, and this is what's going to help you to get stronger. Now, if you feel stable enough, this is a warrior one pose. If you feel stable enough, maybe you start to lift one arm up. Good. Maybe you start to lift two arms up.
All right.
You can, and you can do it however you need to, right? You can work like this. And wiggling is encouraged. When you're wiggling like this, your body is learning how to stabilize itself, which is going to help us as we age, right? Because we get a little bit wobbly on our feet. So this kind of work is going to help us go, okay, feet, if I'm about to fall, can you keep me balanced, right? So now let's switch legs. So right foot steps back, left foot steps forward. Bend that left knee. Good. Notice it's probably a little bit easier for you to balance on one side more than the other, yes? So make sure your chest is squared off towards your chair, your hips are squared off towards your chair. Now let's see. As you press down through your feet, what did it feel like to be lifting those blocks up? Get taller, get taller, get taller. Full body integration, right? Do you feel every single part of your body has to move when you do yoga? Now, how about one hand up? Good, and reach all the way up through those fingers. Make sure you're not holding your breath. It's easier to balance if you breathe, I promise. It doesn't feel like it, right? When we're balancing, it's like, I gotta hold my breath. But it's easier to balance if you keep breathing. And now second hand up, let's see it. Good. What did those blocks feel like? Can you get taller? Yes, 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 yes. One more big breath. Let's see it. And then relax. Woo! That's it. Yeah, you grew an inch and it's only been 15 minutes. So imagine what would happen if you could get to this work every single day, right? Do we have time for another warrior? What do we think?
5 minutes.
5 minutes? All right, that was warrior 1. Let's do warrior 2. So warrior 2, this time you're still going to put your knee here, but this time we're all going to face over to the left. So I'll do it this way so you can see where we're going. Okay? Good. So now in this one, my pelvis is open. Okay? My front knee is bending. I'm holding onto my chair. I'm still lifting my blocks up. And now here we go. This is warrior 2 arm. So you're going to stretch your left arm back, and you're going to twist your chest over to the left. So there's a twist. My right knee is staying forward, and my chest is twisting back. Twists are also very good for your spine, right? This is how our discs get water and nutrients when we twist. So get tall. Now, if you feel stable enough, maybe you stretch the right arm forward too. Now pull the arms in both directions, like you're going to touch both sides of the room, and get taller. Big breath in. And then maybe you turn your gaze over your front fingertips. Woo! Good. Take one more big breath in. That's it, Paul. And then release, and we'll switch sides. So left leg goes forward. So put that left knee right against the chair and step your right foot back. Good. Now here's the twist first, right? I'm going to twist my chest around to the right, stretch that right arm up, and then we get tall. So get tall. What did those blocks feel like? Good. And then if you feel stable enough, stretch that left arm forward. May, are you getting taller? That's it. That's it. Good. And then everybody gaze over those left fingertips. Here we go. One more big breath in. Grow one more inch. And then exhale, release. Very nice. All right. How did we do? Everyone feeling okay? Do you feel like you can do one more standing pose, or should we sit down? Let's do one more stand. Everyone's feeling energized now. Huh? Now they like the standing poses. Okay, so the next one, everybody take your belt for. This will be our last one. So this is really, really good for neck and shoulder pain if you get a lot of tightness here, which most of us do, right? Because of that forward head placement, right? As soon as our head goes forward, our poor little shoulders have to carry all of that weight around for us. So it doesn't matter. As long as it just has to be nice and long for this one. So everybody spread out a little bit so you're not going to play twister with your neighbor. My arms are all the way out to the side. Good. Now, if you need to go a little bit wider with your feet to feel stable, you can do that here. But you guessed it. I want you to still remember what it felt like to be lifting that block between your thighs. That's it. Good. Now, from here, keep growing through the crown of your head, and you can go as wide as you need to, and we're going to let the arms come back and forward. Now, as you do this, see if you can let your arms go at the same time. So what I don't want to see is this. So go nice and slow as you do this. This is just mobilizing the shoulder jacket. Now, if you feel like this is very easy and you're like, I could do it a little bit tighter than this, then you walk your hands in a little bit more, right? So you just go a little bit more narrow, and then we go over. Oh, nice big stretch in the front of the chest. That's it. And go all the way over. Now, how about if we just go over to the right side? So a little bit over to the right, all the way around the back. Good. Go a little wider with your hands. And there you go. And then over. And how about the left side? So we feel we're working through the shoulder girdle as we do this. Good. And all the way over. Good. Now, put your belts back down. And let's enjoy all of that space that you just found in the front of the chest. Good. Hands all the way up to the tops of the collarbones. Yep, here. Shoulders relaxing. Good. Feel your feet dropping into the floor as you do this. And I want you to see if you can let the breath go all the way up into your hands. And as you exhale, let the shoulders relax a little bit more. We just freed up all those tight pectoral muscles here so that the breath can move a little bit more easily into the lungs. Optimal breathing. Good. Let your jaw soften. Feel all that tension melting away in your neck. Good. And then let the hands come down. All right. Is everybody ready to take on the world? You look good. Yeah, they're standing up tall,
yeah.
Breathing. Good. So now your first homework assignment is For the rest of the day, I want you to walk with your eyes on the horizon, not this, okay? Eyes are going to be on the horizon, and as you're walking, I want you to think about that lifting action that we worked on today. And if you need to go nice and slow to feel stable as you're doing that, then do that. But don't see if you can catch yourself, right? Oh my gosh, I'm looking at my feet as I'm walking. So see if you can integrate just that little piece into your day, okay? We're going to plant the seed.
Figueiredo at the Union Senior Center. How you doing?
I'm doing great, especially after what we just experienced.
Yeah, we just did a modified chair yoga session here focusing on the posture, and you're no newcomer to yoga, I hear.
No, I've done it, and as you were talking, you made me think about straightening up and keeping that spine straight, adding an inch.
That's right, that's why we call it Think Healthy with Dr. Ren.
Absolutely. And I think this is wonderful that you brought this to our seniors, because all of them said to me after, they started thinking, yeah, I'm feeling it. Yeah, I'm thinking differently. And that's it, changing the mindset, how you walk, how you sit. And that's just wonderful for them.
Absolutely. So how long have you been practicing chair yoga?
About 2.5. I started mat because of a back problem I have. Being on the ground with my back sometimes is a problem. So I do some mat, mostly chair. But it's a modified chair where we get up out of the chair. Many people think of chair yoga as just sitting here and doing nothing. And there really is a big component. You basically use the chair as a prop. You get up just as we did today. We do Warrior 1, Warrior 2. You let go of the chair, you do all of this. So it's a lot of the yoga positions that would normally happen on a mat, but you do standing up or in a chair. So,
absolutely.
And I will tell you, it has made me conscious, as what we talked about today, this sitting up, this stretching, this, when I sit to eat, I'm conscious of how I'm sitting. When I stand, when I walk, I try to be conscious of how I'm walking, because it really does affect, your well-being in your back.
Absolutely. And as we visited throughout the day today, that it's yoga for all ages. We were talking about from 8 years old to 90 years old. And I know that you do yoga locally at the Y. So the residents of Union, if they want to get involved, can you tell us a little bit more about the program?
Yeah, they have a wonderful program at the Y. The chair yoga started about 2.5 years ago, small group, maybe about 6 of us. It is now 3 days a week, and sometimes the class is up to anywhere from 15 to 20 people. It's maxed out on any given day. The more people that get to know about it, the more they realize how important it is. And if you don't do it in a social setting like that, you might not do it at home. So it's good to come out, be in that social environment where someone is guiding you. Just as we were today, they're telling you how that muscle should feel, how that little extra change, that little, because doing it at home alone isn't always, you can do it to practice, but you always need that person to reinforce those little minute changes that are needed, because it's the minute changes that make a big difference in your whole body and your system and your back, especially.
So what would be one last word of encouragement you would say to our residents that are on the fence and really want to sign up for that class at the Y?
If you're on the fence, get off the fence and into a chair and do yoga, because it really will change the way you think. It'll change your mindset about how you hold yourself, how you carry yourself. And many people think of yoga, they think of a pretzel or a contortion that they're going to be exactly
it's
that
work.
It is. Just sitting, if you're sitting properly and maintaining your feet on the ground and maintaining that pose, it's work. Your muscles are engaged. Just by doing that, you could be sitting at the diner with your friends and sit up like this, and you'll be doing yoga because you're engaging your muscles, and it's just great to do that as a practice. And if you do that, it just helps us overall our health and our well-being.
Well, Mayor Figueiredo, it sounds like your Dr. Ren recommended.
I thank you so much for inviting me. This was great.
And thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Smooches, you guys, and think again next time.